Hi everyone. My name is Hassan Shan. I'm 22 years old. I'm living in Karachi, and I'm actually a student of software development and computer science here in Mary University, Karachi. So I'm at my last semester year. So I've actually started to have a keen interest about chatbots and AI. So I actually built a project here using Python on basically making a simple chatbot here. I'll just actually run it for you so you can see. Yeah. So here, I'm just going to type a few things here. Let's say I'm going to say hi, and my bot will actually, who I've trained data with, gives an automatic response right there and there. And it has a small 0.5 second delay, so it seems more human interactable. Right, let's say hello one more time. Like, I'm going to ask another question. Let's say, what are you going to sell? We sell coffee and tea. So how do I pay? We accept most majority credit cards. All right, and cash, right? Okay. Um, if I actually try to repeat the questions here, like if I say, how do you pay again? How to pay? It'll give a random response for now. Let's try this one more time. How do you we accept BTC and ETH? So it has a bunch of random responses for which I've trained the data to randomly generate. Furthermore, let's say I've also added a dummy question here. Let's say just for fun, tell a joke. No jokes today. So it's giving me random responses over here too. So let's say now I want to say goodbye. Now I'm gonna greet. I've had this. I have from my bot right now. I'm gonna end the chat. So I'll just say goodbye. Oh yeah. If you say any kind of if there's some kind of grammatical error here, it'll just give a response to that as well, saying that it doesn't understand. So you have to make sure that's good too. So now say goodbye. See you later. Thanks for listening. So yeah, it's still a work in progress. I want to make it much more efficient, much more highly optimized. But I figured it's actually a good way to go get into it. So it's made completely using Python. I have another framework I'm using. It's called Pytorch, but we have to make sure about a few things. But if there's a few things that you have to know to run Pytorch, you need to have a really good graphic card. It does work without the graphic card, but you have to change a line of code here. I'll just show that right now. Oh yeah, it's in the chat. Right over here. The device, Torch device, CUDA. CUDA is something that you'd find in graphic cards. And if it doesn't find the CUDA driver, it's going to use the CPU. So if you have Intel i5, Intel i7, maybe even Intel i3, I'm currently using an i3 right here. So it'll work just fine with that. It'll probably be slower, but still cool. And yeah, um, yeah, and the data that I've used to train is actually here in my intent JSON file. It's all saved in a JSON file, and it has certain tags to it. They're all saved in one array here. So basically, we have an array of objects that has multiple arrays in it. That's how it kind of works here. So we have a tag that has a greeting tag. So any sort of greeting response that you would find that'll be based on the pattern. So my input can be hi, hey, hello, how are you, or something close to that. The possible responses based on that is going to be what do you see my SAMbot? I've called it a SAMbot. Will give right here like hey, hello, how are you? As you can see. Furthermore, for goodbye, the same thing. For thanks, if you say thank you, give a response to. Talk about the items, like what I just asked, like if you want, do you sell something or not? Then it gives a random, then gives a response between we sell coffee or we have coffee and tea. Talk about payments, we're gonna talk about that too. And again, the response is over here. And what about delivery? We didn't talk about delivery too, but still, if you talk about delivery here, it will say it takes 3 to 4 days. If you want a joke, you'll get a joke too. Again, and I've trained the data here. So when I run my training data, you'd see it running around 1,000 tests, as you will see here. And it shows that in sequences of hundreds. So every 100 tests, you would see how much loss and gain it has. So that's another thing that neural networks have, because Pytorch is actually a machine learning framework. So we'll be working with neural networks over here. As you can see, the model has that over here. Furthermore, the app's GUI is something that is made something that's made differently. It's right over here in our class of chat application. So it's right over here. So style date, all the things, we get the font color, the font style, all of it's done right over here. And then I run the application as it's all right. So yeah, do make sure, like when you use this application to go in from my GitHub, I'll mention my GitHub down below. You have a few things. I want to make sure that you have Python installed, and you also have Python installed in your VS Code, the extension over here. I'll show the extension too. What did I spell it correctly? Yeah, Python. So make sure that you have that. Python extension is actually the most popular one right over here. And then after that, I want you to install an NLTK library, because that's really important if you're going to be working with if you're going to be working with chatbot. You need something to process your data, because again, the human response can be kind of messed up. So the machine needs to understand that. NLTK is a pretty cool tool to work with that, because it processes human data. Um, it processes user input and changes that into code, like 1 and 0. And the machine processes that and then gives a response based on that. So NLTK, Python. So this is our site that you'll have to go on. The documentation is pretty cool. You need to work on that. Installing NLTK right here. Yeah. Right here. So this is a command that you'll have to install, that you'll have to run. I would recommend that you do it on your PowerShell. So you just copy this command after you've installed Python in your PC or in your VS Code. Run this command, and once you've done that, I want you to run your Pytorch command. So once you come to the Pytorch website right over here, you'll actually have to select it based on your laptop specs. I have it set to I set it to I want the stable version of Python. I have a Windows software. I'm using the pip command line, the pip app patch manager, and the language I'm using is Python. And I'm going to be using on my CPU because I do not have a graphic card. But if you do have a graphic card, you can actually select between the Cuba drivers right over here. And based on that, you will get a command line right over here. Copy that. That's your next step. Once you have that copied, I want you to go to your CMD or your PowerShell, and you just paste it right over here. And once you press enter, it'll take probably about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It is quite a big package here. And once you're done, you can actually run the project right here in VS Code after you've done. So yeah, thank you for staying with me, and I do hope you have fun.